Mr. Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm on the right side over here, or your left. Thank you for being here. And I got to brag, I did serve with a Colonel Guillot back in the day. We both got to command the greatest wing in the United States Air Force, the 55th Wing. My first question is to General Guillot. Tracking hypersonics is a big concern for many of us, I know for you as well. Can you talk about the challenges of tracking hypersonics and also add, what is the time from, if it's a hypersonics launched in China, how long could it reach the continental United States?
Congressman, and I share the shout out for the fight in 55th, and thank you for that. Hypersonics are very destabilizing. They're a tremendous challenge to us because they start off often in a ballistic manner, which is very easy to predict where they're going to eventually impact. But because of their speed and their maneuverability, all that goes away once they enter the hypersonic and the glide portion of their profile. So I think it also, because the speed cuts down the amount of time, sometimes to as little as 5 minutes to detect, track, and predict where it's going to go. But because of the end-game maneuverability that they have, really, we don't know until the very end where these could go because of the maneuverability.
What kind of capabilities do you need to better track this? What should we be funding in Congress?
The HBTSS, the Hypersonic Ballistic Tracking and Sensing System, is an extremely promising satellite-based capability to detect and track the hypersonics through the regimes that I just described. And then I think that we're going to have to increase our commitment to defeat mechanisms, which are challenged for the same reasons that I just mentioned, the maneuverability and the speed. We have some great defeat mechanisms, but they aren't geared towards the speed and maneuverability that hypersonics bring.
Sounds like a good priority for us to work on.
We would appreciate it. Yes, sir.
CJADC2 and AI and those growing importance for your air defense command and control. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of the Maven Smart System?
Congressman, Maven Smart System has become the staple for our joint all-domain command and control system because it not only presents a picture of the battle space in multiple domains. Most systems show one domain or another, but you can get all domains in Maven Smart System. And the increasing number of layers of live data that can be brought in, everything from undersea through space sensors displayed at the same time. So it's a staple to both NORAD and NORTHCOM, and I see it growing in the future.
Thank you. Admiral Halsey, what's the biggest gap that you have for the counter-drug mission, and what can Congress be doing to help you?
Congressman, I think the biggest gap remains assets. We have to be consistent, present, and engaged, and have a consistent presence on the waters, in the air, to deter and interdict. So I think from an air standpoint, maritime standpoint, and ISR, all is very critical to the mission.
Thank you. I want to follow up on a question that General Guillot got earlier about cyber. I appreciate you talking about it's not just ballistic missile threat or hypersonic, it's also cyber. And you got to work with Cyber Command and CISA, which is, there's a seam there. We're trying to close those seams. Are there any additional authorities that you need to work with Cyber Command and CISA?
Sir, I think we have the authorities that we need, and I should point out the FBI is very active as well in our cyber defense. Having those organizations resident in our headquarters is helpful. Frequent talks with General Hawk, sometimes weekly, on the threat. And every time I ask him if he can take action, he has had the authorities necessary to do that on our behalf. So I don't have any authority requests at this time for the cyber domain.
One last question with my final minute. You know, I've worked in NATO. I've worked with the Canadians. I've worked with the Danes. And I'm concerned about some of the comments that these are our allies. And so as a traditional Republican, I hate to see the friction with our allies. Are you seeing any of those frictions at all at NORAD or NORTHCOM?
Congressman, as you know, in NORAD, we have several hundred Canadians that work side by side with us, as well as at the installations. At the military-to-military relationship level, we have zero problems or concerns. Everybody's focused on defending our continent, and I'm real proud of the effort that they're putting into it.
Thank you. Good to hear. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Jim yields back.